morning, my friends. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lizabeth, and I have been living in the light, documenting not only my 160-pound weight loss, but now I'm documenting my healthy lifestyle. This week, I wanted to come and talk to you about the third week of transition from Optavia's 5-in-1 program. For the last couple of weeks, I have talked to you about transition week 1. Last week, I talked to you about transition week 2. And so this week, we're going to talk about transition week 3. But before I go into that, could I invite you please just to give this video a thumbs up? It's just a great way to support me. It allows YouTube to realize that people like this kind of content, and then it will let this video be shown to more people. So I would really appreciate that. Also, if you are looking for support in your journey, whether you are still in the weight loss phase or you are in transition or maintenance, even if you're not on the Optavia program and you're just looking for some encouragement in living a healthy life, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. So feel free to like the video, subscribe, and then share my videos with your friends. I would be very happy if you would do that. For my regular subscribers, I apologize. I am actually a little under the weather. I'm recovering from the flu, so my voice is a little weak, but I did not want to let this week go by without posting this video because I know there are several of you, Luann, I'm talking to you, who are moving on to week 3 this week of transition. And so I want to make sure that you get the little description and the visual aid that I like to use to help you through this process. Now, I do also want to say that there is no reason why you can't take more than a week to work through each of these transition weeks. As a matter of fact, in Habits of Health, in the margin of page 330, it says, don't forget to monitor your weight during transition. Your weight may fluctuate during transition as your body gets used to the additional carbohydrates, salt, and calories. Remember to monitor your weight vigilantly and adjust your calorie intake up or down if you fluctuate by more than a few pounds from your healthy weight. If you notice that you're gaining weight back, cut back on calories by a bit by recalculating your TEE and adjust your intake accordingly. Give your body time to readjust its lower set point and be ready to catch yourself early. So at each time you're adding something, sometimes just giving yourself an extra week for your body to adjust to that change, that caloric change, can also help as well. So don't feel that you have to complete, you have to move on to the next week at the end of a week. You can take 2 weeks. As a matter of fact, I've mentioned this before. A lot of times people who are diabetic are encouraged to take 2 weeks or to go through the process slower. People who have lost a large amount of weight over a long period of time, who have been on the program for a long time, may also want to take a little bit longer to work through the program. So if it takes you, if you stick to week 1 for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, that's totally up to you. But as I've also said, the weight loss program is a vehicle to get you from one place to another, and you need to get out of the vehicle at some point and move on to life. So transition kind of helps you slow that vehicle down until you get to your destination, which is maintenance, and we'll talk about maintenance later. But I wanted to go back and pull out my great little visual aid. This is 5-in-1. All right, so I've got 5 fuelings here represented here, and I have 1 lean and green as I say it each time. This is just a can of soup. It is not a lean and green meal, but I'm just using it because it fits in here and it kind of represents a meal, even though it's not. So 5 fuelings. This is what you do on the 5-in-1 on weight loss. Then on week 1 of transition, we kept this exactly the same, and we added a cup of vegetables, which I recommend doing in half cup portions. So I added a half a cup of vegetables to this fueling, and I added a half a cup of vegetables to this fueling. So then last week was week 2. Last week we removed a fueling. So we got rid of one of our fuelings and we added a cup of fruit. So I just replaced that fueling that I took out with a cup of fruit. So now I have 4 fuelings. I have 1 cup of vegetables, which I've divided here, and then I put 1 cup of fruit to replace the fueling that I took out. So that was last week, week 2. Week 3, we are going to add a cup of dairy. We're going to keep 4 fuelings, so the same number of fuelings, but now we're going to add a cup of dairy. That can be according to the LifeBook and Habits of Health. So LifeBook on Habits of Health, page 329, and LifeBook, page 278. So 329 in Habits of Health, 278 in the LifeBook tells you exactly what to do. 1 cup of dairy, which they say can be. Dairy includes low-fat and sugar-free yogurt, milk, or lactate products. So I am demonstrating that with Greek yogurt. Now, it says 1 cup. These have slightly more than half of a cup. So a half a cup would be 4 ounces. These are 5.3 ounces. So this is about a half a cup plus almost 2 tablespoons. So it's a little bit more than a half a cup. I was not going to waste that much, that tablespoon or 2 of yogurt. So I just went ahead and considered this a half a cup, but you feel free to measure exactly, get a big container of yogurt and measure a half a cup of yogurt, or drink half a cup of milk. The other thing that I did that is not in the book is I used low-fat cottage cheese a few times. It doesn't list cottage cheese at all under dairy. It actually lists it under protein, and I'm not exactly sure why they do that, because this yogurt has 15 grams of protein and a half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese only has 13 grams of protein. So I'm not exactly sure why cottage cheese is not listed as a dairy. I used it, but I'm not telling you to use it. I'm just saying I used it, and I think it's the one area of this entire program that I did not follow exactly to the letter. So you do whatever you think is right. I have to fit this whole cup in here somewhere, and like my vegetables, I'm actually going to divide it. And at this point, I divided my fruit at the same time. So what I did was I took a half a cup of fruit and I threw it somewhere else in my day. So I could either divide it and do a half a cup with my first fueling of the day, and then a half a cup of fruit with my second fueling of the day. And that's where I threw in one of my yogurts, and then I threw the other one at the end of the day. You can do it however you want to, but you can see what I'm trying to do here is spread out the calories. I'm trying not to lump everything all in at one time. And I'm also preparing my body to eat fruits and vegetables at almost every single meal. As a matter of fact, you can see now I've got fruit, vegetable, lots of vegetables with my lean and green. And then I've got some dairy thrown in here at the end, as well as my dairy here. So I'm spreading out the calories. I'm not giving my body a bunch of calories all at one time. The only time they get a real big influx of calories is with my lean and green, which, as you know, can go anywhere. So I could have done my lean and green first. I could do it second. I could do it third. It doesn't matter where. I probably wouldn't do it last, right before I go to bed, because I don't want to give my body a whole bunch of energy fueling ingredients and then go to sleep and not burn the energy. So it's better to move it somewhere else during the day. That's just my uneducated opinion. During this process, we're adding calories, right? So each week we're adding about 50 to 100 calories. Somewhere in there each week we're adding to our day. We start out with about 950 calories if you were to figure out the maximum number of calories in a fueling and the maximum number of calories with a lean and green, which is 400 calories for a lean and green. Each fueling maximum is 110. So if you did 5 110 calorie fuelings, that's 550 plus 400. So the maximum calories you're getting during weight loss is 950. So the first week with the vegetables, a cup of vegetables is really not a whole lot of calories. Max, you're adding probably 50 calories. And back to that one as well, because I did have a conversation with nutrition support last week, that 1 cup of vegetables doesn't mean 2 greens. So it's not the equivalent of 2 greens. It is 1 cup of vegetables, period, no matter what kind of vegetable you're having, whether it's lettuce or spinach or broccoli or green beans or peppers, whatever it is, it's 1 cup, period. So that answers that question, because someone did ask me also in the comments last week or the week before. So 950 calories, add about 50 calories the first week, so we're up to 1,000 calories. The fruit, again, 50 to 100 calories, so let's just say 100. So now we are at 1,100 calories. The cup of dairy is about 100 calories. It's actually a little bit more, but that kind of balances out what we did a little under. So now we're at about 1,200 calories. Let's even say 1,250 just to be generous. 1,250 calories. Next week will be the final edition, and we'll still be below 1,550 calories. And that is probably an average TEE for a lot of people. I'll talk more about TEE later, and if you've been in on any of my maintenance talks, I've talked about how to find that. As a matter of fact, I did a live Zoom call last week where I talked about how to determine your TEE and just some of the basics of maintenance. So you can go back in my channel and look for that video if you want more information on that. But at this point, you know, we're at about 1,250 calories max. That's a great place to be. So keep doing this, add that dairy in. Another thing that I've had people say, well, I don't normally eat dairy. If you're not normally a dairy person, just do another week at the fruit level and just skip over the dairy level. You don't have to add dairy in if you're not a dairy person. There are a lot of people, even people who are lactose intolerant who don't even want to do drink lactate milk or anything like that. You don't have to add anything into your diet that you wouldn't normally eat or that you're not going to be excited about eating. If you're not a dairy person, totally skip that. One really fun thing that you can do with dairy, if you happen to have a Ninja Creamy, I will say that a great thing to do is to take that yogurt. I throw it into the Ninja Creamy container, just the yogurt. I don't add anything to it. And if I put 3 in there, then that gives me 3 servings when I freeze it. And I throw it in the freezer, let it freeze, then I run it through the Creamy, and I can take a serving of that as my dairy and have some frozen yogurt, and it's really good. So that would make a really great nighttime thing. The other thing you could do is to take the yogurt and just take the vanilla yogurt or, plain yogurt and mix in the brownie or the chocolate chip cookie or something like that and freeze that and run that through the Creamy. What I would do is do 2 containers of yogurt and 2 fuelings and then divide it in half and have a frozen yogurt treat like that. And that would include your fueling and your dairy. So give that a try. Hope I've given you lots of good ideas and help as far as understanding what week 3 is like in transition. It's so easy. We're not exchanging Optavia fuelings for other products at this point. Right now, when you remove something, you're adding some kind of a whole food in there. So don't worry about going out and finding Catalina Crunch or some kind of oatmeal or anything like that. Right now, we're not making any of those changes. We're sticking with Optavia fuelings and just adding in whole vegetables, whole fruits, whole dairy products. There are a lot of people who continue to use Optavia fuelings, of course through transition, but even on into maintenance. And that is convenient for a lot of people. They are healthy, they are full of vitamins, and they are quick and convenient. And if that fits your lifestyle and that is how you want to continue to maintain your weight loss, then you should absolutely do that. And continue to get those fuelings. I know lots of people, Dr. A included, continue to eat the Optavia fuelings on a daily basis. And so that is something that you might be looking forward to, or you might be like me and you're looking forward to not using prepackaged items. I have the joy and pleasure of working from home, and I love to cook. And I don't mind making my foods, and I've never been a packaged food person, so I am one who doesn't use Optavia fuelings, but I am all for people who do want to continue to use them as a healthy way to continue to maintain their weight loss. So that is week 3 with a little hint about what's coming in maintenance. Next week, we'll talk about week 4 and really weeks 4, 5, and 6, because they are the same for 3 weeks straight. So that's what we will talk about next week. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box down below. I'm happy to find answers for you and support you in your transition. Again, I'm not looking for clients. If you ask me, I will tell you no. I am just here to be a support and encouragement to people on their journey. I know there are a lot of coaches with Optavia who have not been through the transition process yet, and so they can't really speak to what the process is like from personal experience. I've been there. I've been on maintenance for 4 months now and have maintained my weight loss very nicely, continue to maintain my loss, and continue to grow in my passion to helping those who have lost weight to maintain and stay healthy. So I hope you'll join me again. And until I see you next time, please live in the light.